So the next thing to happen on Friday Night SmackDown, now we had the next segment of the night. It was the Undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. He comes out with Jimmy and Jay, the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman, the Bloodline. So yeah, the Bloodline comes out, and Roman tells, I think they're in Knoxville, if I'm not mistaken, Knoxville, to acknowledge him and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what he says. And then he starts talking about how his family is the greatest of all time because they main evented both nights of WrestleMania. All of his family members, all the Bloodline members, main evented both nights of WrestleManias this year. So yeah, that's what Roman Reigns was talking about. But then he says that even though he himself was not here to handle any business because he was taking some time off, he says that there was somebody else that was handling some business up until Backlash and everything. And he says that it was Solo Sikoa. Hyping up Solo Sikoa and stuff. So yeah, but then Solo says something about KO and Sami Zayn, and then Roman was like, "See, and this man still thinking of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn the problem." But he says that we gotta look past that because the bigger problem is his brothers, Jimmy and Jay, the Usos. So yeah, that's what he says, that he carries his attention to the Usos and all that stuff. And he tells the Usos that, that they should be apologizing to him. Two things that they can say: "I'm sorry," or "I apologize, my tribal chief." And those two words better be the next thing that comes out of their mouths, because not only did they lost their match at WrestleMania, but they lost their rematch, and they dedicated that match to hit under his name and stuff, and he don't appreciate that. He says that the people that they should have dedicated the match to was the greatest tag teams of the Bloodline. He says that he ain't even a part of a tag team. He's the greatest singles competitor. He's not a part of the tag team, so they should have dedicated their match to the greatest tag team in their family and stuff. So yeah, that's what he says. And he says that after that they should have won the tag team titles back and all that stuff. And, he's saying that they better say, "I'm sorry," and stuff. And then he looks at Jimmy, and Jimmy's laughing and everything. And he goes like, "You think this is funny? You think that we're on commercial and you could pop and stuff? Think I'm a clown and stuff, huh?" And then he starts pushing Jimmy and stuff. And then he pie faces Jimmy. Jimmy gets pissed off. He steps up to Roman. Jay says something. Like, he gets in between them and he says something. But we can't hear it because the crowd was chanting some stuff, and then WWE got blur out, kind of censor, mute it pretty much, so we couldn't hear the first thing that Jay says. But then he says that that they're sorry and all that stuff, and they'll win back the tag team titles from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They'll make sure of that. And Roman was like, "You know what? You're right. The Bloodline will be taking back those tag team titles and handle Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn." And he says, "Wise man, tell him something." And then Paul Heyman grabs the mic and he starts talking. He says that at Night of Champions, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will be losing the tag team titles against Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns. And the Usos was very surprised about that and kind of pissed off about it. And yeah, Roman says that he dedicates that match to Alpha Sinca, the Wild Samoans. So yeah, that's what Roman Reigns said. And yeah, at Night of Champions, it'll be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa for the tag team titles. Now, the pay-per-view is called Night of Champions, so I guess Roman Reigns will not be defending his titles. Maybe. I mean, he is wrestling at the pay-per-view and stuff, but he's not defending his titles. But we'll see. I don't know. We got a few more weeks. We'll see if he'll be defending the titles, in the second match or whatever. Who knows? We'll see, though. But yep, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see Caleb Braxton talking about Roman Reigns and stuff backstage, talking about how him and Solo will be taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But speaking about tag team titles, they gotta talk about Damage Control. And then we see Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky coming up. And Bayley was talking about how her and Roman got something in common, that is being great leaders and stuff, dominating SmackDown. But she says that she's number one in SmackDown. She holds up SmackDown and all that stuff. And then talks about Io Sky, talking about how it was her fault, Bayley's fault, that Io did not become Raw Women's Champion because it was too early for that. So yeah, that stuff like that. And Io kind of looked pissed off about that stuff. And yeah, Bayley was talking about how her and Dakota will win back the women's tag team titles in Damage Control. So yeah, that's what she said. But up next, it will be Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Damage Control up next for the women's tag team titles. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later until then.